Good morning, Bishops. Hi, Mark Rahal.
You doing okay here?
I haven't found the calendar to turn on the Zoom, that's all.
Okay.
I got the other one on.
Okay. Because, Jonah sent me the instructions.
Me too.
Instructions.
So, the Zoom is here.
This one I always have trouble with also.
See, the Zoom is here, and I actually go back to the home.
Okay.
It's not a new meeting.
It's not a new meeting. Okay, so what did he say?
I opened the computer.
Cantor's podium. Turn this on after the meeting.
Yeah, that's on.
You did this, you did
I did that.
Wait for the bulb icon to switch.
Wi-Fi is working.
Okay. On the Google Calendar, that should automatically be
Nope.
there. Hover the cursor over the Shabbat morning service. Blue Zoom magic. Okay.
On that computer, I got the calendar right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's the same thing that I do in the mornings over
Yeah.
here. You just click and it starts
It's right
the
there.
meeting. Right. No, this is not a new meeting, and this is Zoom. And we don't. Okay, what we don't have here
Let's see if anything
is
comes up
the
here.
calendar.
Anything in Jonah's settings. No. Whiteboard apps, contacts, meetings. Let's see if that once more. No. Home. Join.
I don't know what the meeting ID is. There is no meeting ID.
Okay.
I think what he's asking you to do is the calendar is something else. The calendar is our Shaare Tefila calendar. Again, on the Google Calendar, that should automatically be there. Hover the cursor over the Shabbat. Okay, you know what? What I'm going to suggest is why don't you close Zoom a second. Okay, close Zoom a second. Okay. See what's here. I'm curious what's there.
See, that's a post meeting.
Yeah, go
Come
ahead.
here.
Okay.
Log in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And that might be his
Yeah.
passcode's in there.
Next. Okay, you got it.
Meeting.
Yeah, join that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, you got it.
We got it.
Yeah, you see, he's telling you, yeah, okay, you got it. And there's Ira and Val. There's Ira and Val. Hello, Ira and Val. Yeah, they're the co-hosts. They're our computer people.
Good.
Sitting in Silver Spring. That's
Good
what it is.
morning.
It's not a Zoom. You got to go to the calendar and click on the link. And you got
So you'll
it.
fix all the problems on the internet on today. I don't have to worry about them.
Yeah. That's right. You got to turn up the volume. Hold on a second, Ira. We can't hear you. Wait a second.
The volume's only on up front, not
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, hold on a second. If you want to talk to us here, go ahead, talk to us.
So, members can either watch by screen, which is one way, or interact.
Yeah, so we're
Good.
good. We got
We
it.
got it up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get the kidder stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Don't forget to show them the reflect on the,
yeah, that's got to be plugged in. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, we got to plug that in. Yeah, that makes it easier to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're plugged in. Okay. Say that again?
if you neighbor or you cannot unmute someone else.
I'm not following you.
So in other words, the only thing you need to do is send me a text message when somebody working against the mute button.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, wait a second here. Let me, Right.
Would you sell, W-205?
No. Plus, I don't have my cell with me right now, so that isn't gonna help. It's in the car. So, yeah, I don't have. No, you know, well, you can take my cell number, 466-1869. I think you called me on it. Yeah, you should have it. But again, I don't have. Oh, no, that's the, you know, and that's the house phone. That's why you call me. Oh, don't call me on the house phone. That works, but, right, 301-466-1869. That's my cell phone, which is a better number to call me. Okay? And you know, the other one is the house phone. Use that kind of secondarily. You know, but yeah, but call me on the cell phone. But right now, cell phone is in the car, so that isn't going to help. But I think, okay, so now we have the second laptop for Camp Redina. It still says Jonah Lehman on it. Is that supposed to be it?
Yes. Because he logs in with his account.
Okay, so yeah, I see Jonah Lehman at the top is listed as the host, and then Zyra and Val, and then there's another Jonah Lehman.
Yeah, can you change, let me see if I can change it.
It's okay. It's just a little confusing.
Oh, you have to make me co-host.
You want me to make you co-host?
Yeah.
That's it. And Zyra and Val, more. Make co-host. Yes. Okay, you're now the co-host.
Let me see if I can do it. Here. Okay.
Okay, so we're all set.
Is this better? Is that how she spells it?
A-D-I-N-A. That's close. Okay, there. A-D-I-N-A.
Does this look better?
Not yet.
That's better.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Much better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Rabbi, I think the last time we were together was at a funeral.
Yeah, that's right. So I got a call.
Let's only do it for simplest then.
Yeah, right, exactly. I got a call from somebody that we now have somebody sponsoring the Kiddush, and Jonah didn't tell me that.
Okay.
So he may not have known this.
Who's doing announcements?
This is, right, this would be part of the announcements. And the woman calling me says, can I come up and say a few words about Barbara? I said, sure. You know, after the service, Rita will come up and say a few words about Barbara Fink, who's sponsoring the Kiddush in honor of her special birthday.
Nice.
But the rest of these, and then as far as the Torah reading, I'm not sure if it's Eileen or Gary, it's husband and wife. One of them will come up and read the first two aliyot. Mark Kaufman will finish.
Yep.
And then Marv Kruger will do the Torah. And the rest, read the Yurtzeit list.
Got the book.
We got the book, so we're good.
One, don't forget that on the name of Rabbi, not only you, but himself.
Yeah. Yeah, the white switch, yeah.
Yeah, the white switch. I just plugged it in, so it should work. Either one, if you want
Do
to
it manually or,
yeah, exactly. Either one.
No, I did this in February. Do you think I remember though from February? No.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Did you see the posting from Jonah and Lenore on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're eating falafel
Suffering
in Jerusalem.
horribly.
Oh boy.
This time of year it is so gorgeous in Israel.
Yeah, it's not usual that they have a chance, an opportunity to go.
For a Simcha too, it's even
For a
better.
Simcha too, right, exactly.
from school, so you can have all
Right.
the crowds and have everything you want to do.
Right. No, that was nice that they took 2 weeks. No, it's good for them.
It's nice to see. Happy for my friend. Yeah. Got this. Good Shabbos.
Shalom. I think we have everything working. We put our heads together and I think. Yeah, we're all set. Rabbi, one important question. How do you pronounce your last name?
Raphael is the way my father said it, but Raphael is fine too.
Okay, Raphael. Okay. I've heard it many different ways. Raphael.
You can call me Ray, you can call me...
Yeah, right.
Joking.
There's a famous story of Rabbi of Rutuk, who was one of the deans of the Orthodox rabbinate in Hartford in the early 80s when I was first a rabbi. Somebody came up to him at some kind of meeting, a very nice woman, and said, "Rabbi, what's your first name?" Said to her, "Rabbi."
You know, when Joe is here alone on the beat, he takes his grasp off. So, you know, that would be okay. It might be a little easier to hear.
Yeah,
while you're
it does
standing-
muffle, yes.
While you're standing alone. So let me...
I guess we already did colors.
yeah.
They send observers to check out the damage and see if it was indeed.
Wow. Yeah.
They had some trees down in the houses again.
Gosh. Good Shabbos, Val. How are you? It, Carla, Shabbat Shalom. It's so good to see you. Not in a box. Yay.
Good morning and good Shabbos. My computer says it's 9:31, so I think we shall begin. I'm Rabbi Mark Raphael. I'm the Rabbi Emeritus of Kihilat Shalom in Montgomery Village. I've been here for joint programs. I was here in February subbing for Rabbi Lehman, and I see he's having a great time in Israel, and I am so jealous that he's in Israel, even though it's nice to be with you here today, even though I can't see your smiles behind your masks, it's nice to be here. As customary, we begin our service with Shochenat in a moment. We're on 147 in the red Lev Shalem, using the old blue Shabbat Sim Shalom. We're in the middle of 105 for Shochenat.
Rabbi, you need to mute all, and then I will unmute myself.
Let's see. Hi. Everybody's muted but you, I think. iPad. Mute.
That's, yeah. Okay,
I think we got it.
okay. And you can put your video back on.
Oh.
There we go. All right. Shochenat marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim b'Adonai layesharim nava tehila b'fi sharim titalal u'v'divrei tzadikim titbarach u'v'lashon chasidim titromam u'v'kerev kedoshim titkadash u'v'makalot rivevot amecha beit Yisrael שכן חובת כל היצורים לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדל, לברך, להלל ולקלס על כל דברי שירות, ותשבחות דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך המלך אל חיי העולמים.
Amen. We'll rise for half Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה.
אמן.
בעלמא דברה קירותך וימליך מלכותך. בחייכון וביום אחד ובחיי כל בית ישראל. מעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמך רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך בקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
We're on 149 or the top of 107 for Baruch Hu, the call to join his community in praising God and worshiping together.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. הכל מיודך והכל
May be seated. We continue with the
משתתף
creation
בך.
benediction.
אין כרכך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא.
Ready for El Adon 151 or 108, the mystical praise of God's creative flow in the universe, El Adon. Kol ha'ma'asim baruch baruch b'fi kol neshama godlo v'tuvo malei olam da'at utvuna sovavim boto ha'mika'eh al chayot ha'kodesh v'nedor b'chavod al ha'merkava zich umishor lifnech Chesed v'racha lifnei chevodo Tovim me'orot shebara Eloheinu yitzaram V'da'at b'vina u'paskel Koach u'gvura natan bahem Liot moshlim b'kerev tevel Maleim ziv u'mafikim noga Na'ezivam b'chol ha'olam Semechim b'tzeitam V'sasim b'voam Osim b'eim aritzon konam Be'er v'chavod Notnim lishmot zahala V'rina lezecher malchuto Kara l'shemesh Vayizrach ora avehitin surat halavana Shevach no nimlo kolatzeva marom tiferet ugedula serafim v'alfanim v'chaya hakodesh. We're on 152 or 109, continuing also on to the next page. Et Shem Ha'el HaMelech Gadol HaGibor V'Hanora Kadosh Hu. They didn't teach me in Rabbi School how to fix that. Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkamo. Tzion Ta'ir, Or Chadash Al Tzion Ta'ir, V'nizkech Kulanu Mehera Le'oro, Mehera Le'oro. We're on 154, 111 for Ava Rabbah, God's endless love for us. Follow the custom, we get down toward the bottom and gather the tzitzit of your talitot. Inside the building, yes. Manishtana halayla hayom hazeh.
We're back. But I think you need to be on if you're. There we go. Okay, good.
We did it. We don't do much.
Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles.
There we go. We're back. Oh, yeah.
The wonders of technology.
והארננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועת אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
155 or 112 for Shema V'ahavta.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Place into your side of the second paragraph of the Shema, bottom of 112 in the blue, top of 156 in the red.
וימיכם וימי בניכם על האדמה שנשבע לאבותיכם לתת להם, כי מהשמיים על הארץ.
We'll chant the third paragraph of the Shema together, middle of 156 or top of 113.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. יציב נכון וקיים. לדור ודור הוא קיים, ושמו קיים, וכיסאו נכון, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת.
ולדבריו חיים וקיימים.
עולמים. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם.
We're on 114 or 158.
Ram v'nisa katu v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v' תהילות ליל עליון ברוך ומבורך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, שיר חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Please rise.
צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We'll chant the first three benedictions of the Amidah aloud together with the Chazan. So we're on 159 in the red, 115 in the blue to begin chanting together before we go silently with the rest of Amidah after the first three blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים לרופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך על גבורות ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה נאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
Kedusha's on 161 or 116.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה, ואמר קדוש, קדוש, קדוש אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון? בקרוב בימינו לעולם בעת תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. על ידי דוד משיח צדקך, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please sit silent now for a few moments with your personal prayer and reflection, either with your own thoughts and feelings or the words of the Amidah in the red 162 to 166 or 117 through 120 in the blue. We'll continue with Sim Shalom in the red, middle of 165, in the blue, top of 120.
שים שלום בעולם, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד, אהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום בעולם, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום בעולם, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Continue with full Kaddish in the red, 167, in the blue, 138.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה,
אמן.
בעלמא דברה קירותך וימליך מלכותך, וחייכון ויומכון וחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמך רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון לכל ישראל, קודם אבוהון דיבי שמיה ואמרו אמן. יש למה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen.
We'll turn back, please, for the Psalm for Shabbat, and then Mourner's Kaddish in the red, 112, in the blue, 72, the Psalm for Shabbat.
היום יום שבת קודש שבו היו הלווים אומרים בבית המקדש מזמור של יום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ובלילות. עוד ינובון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולה תבוא.
Ready for Mourner's Kaddish in the red, 121, in the blue, page 81. We invite those in mourning or anyone observing your site join in Kaddish Yatom 121 or 81. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayed dechol Beit Yisrael v'agalau v'zman kariv v'yemru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach l'olam u'lomei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yittadar v'yittaleh v'yittalal shemei dekudesha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'olma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Mo will be on 168 in the red or 139 in the blue for the Torah service. We get to finish the book of Leviticus today. Yay! But we got to get through the curses first. Boo! But at least we're done with sacrifices and skin diseases and stuff like that. And we'll get to say chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek at the end of the full Torah reading. We can all use whatever strength we can get with what we've been living through. So chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek will feel good to say today, and hopefully God's blessings for strength will be with us. 168 or 139 for Seder Hotzat HaTorah.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, av harachamim, heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion.
Tivenech amot Yerushalayim, Tivecha levad batachnu, Melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim.
Okey-dokey. Been a long time, Rabbi. Long time.
Keep on trucking.
God, I miss this. You have no idea. You have no idea, Rabbi.
Vayehi bin Saharon, vayomer Moshe,
Adonai v'yamutzu ayecha, v'yanusu misanecha, mipanecha, ki b'tzion tetzeh Torah, ki b'tzion tetzeh Torah, L'devar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, le'amot Dikedu.
to lighten that stuff. If those kids die.
In the red, 171. In the blue, 141.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, u'meromema Shemo yachtav.
Adonai, Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach, V'Hashamayim U'Haaretz. Lecha Adonai, Ha'alama, V'Haminaseh, V'Hol
Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
Let's make sure it's not right, please. Yes. Please be seated. As indicated before, our Torah portion this morning is Bechukotah. You'll find it in the red Chumash on 747. Leviticus chapter 26 at verse 3 if you're in any other Chumash. 747, like the airplane. So reading most of our Torah portion this morning is the Tochecha, the choices. All the horrible things that will happen to you if you fail to observe the covenant with God. It almost reads like Holocaust literature, all these horrible, horrible things, almost all of which has happened down through Jewish history from the time this is written, whenever you think that was, whether it's 3,000 years ago or 2,500 years ago. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Alav Shalom, teaches about the power of this on multiple levels. A, the promise at the end of the curses is that Israel will never be completely destroyed. They will suffer exile, anguish, oppression, but eventually they will return. And we who live in the late 20th century and now in the 21st century, we live with the state of Israel. That promise has been realized also despite all the tsuris that Israel goes through. So the Jewish people are not to see their existence in terms of a cosmology, that they're fated for something to happen, nor as a cycle, as many in the ancient world believe, that things just keep repeating themselves over and over again. Our understanding, especially in this portion, is that there is a rational, ethical purpose to the journey of Israel. What happens to us is partially determined by the ethos of our own community and the ethos of those around us. In the American tradition, we have the same thought, most beautifully articulated by Abraham Lincoln 150 years ago. We are a nation formed by covenant, by dedication to a set of principles, and by an exchange of promises to uphold and advance those commitments among ourselves and throughout the world. When we keep those promises and commitments, we're a nation of ethics and compassion and caring. We fail to do those, we lose our way, and we lose whatever power we have. So statehood, in the mind of Leviticus, is not a matter of power, of horses or armies. It's a matter of ethical power by doing the right thing. That is not easy. Not 3,000 years ago, not in the 20th or in the 21st century. But the power of the human spirit can be called to a higher vocation. A nation that sees itself as responsible for the evils within and without is also a nation with the power to recover, to return, to rebuild, and to live at peace. Short thought to begin the Torah reading again, 747, chapter 26 in the book of Leviticus, starting at verse 3.
V'yazor v'yogein v'yashil achol achosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol havugodel Eloheinu tenu chavod v'torah. Kohen karav yamod. Asher Yosef. Ben Michael. HaKohen. Baruch Natan Torah Limo Yisrael B'Kedushato. Yatem advekim Benonai Lechem Chayim Kulchem Hayom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch
Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher bachar banu b'sal ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch et Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Im buchotai telechu, vet mitzvotai tishmeru, v'asitem otam. V'natati gishmechem, ve'atehen, v'natana ha'aretz, v'yivlo ha'etz hasadeh, v'yiten paro, v'yigash lachem da'ish et v'yitzar, v'yitzar yesov et zara, v'achalta lechmachem v'asava, v'yishvatem v'lishet levetach b'atzchem. That's right here.
Over there. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam v'tal t'halkeinu. Baruch et Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Tamod. Bela. Bat. Yaakov, Halevi, Vet, V'Rachel.
The second Aliyah is at the very top of page 748.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMrafi Elam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam, Asher B'Harbanu Mikol Ha'amin, V'Natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. ונתתי שלום בארץ והשכבתם ואין אחריי וישבתו חיי ורע מן הארץ הרבה לא עבד בארצכם ירדפו את אויביכם ונפלו לפניכם לחרב וירדפו מכם 500 ומאה מכל ורבבה ירדפו ויפלו על אויביכם לפניכם לחרב ויפניתי עליכם והבריתי אתכם והרבתי אתכם ויקימותי את בריתי אתכם. This is not me. This is not me.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam, Asher B'Harbanu Mikol Ha'amin, V'Natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Tamod.
Today.
The third Aliyah is on page 748, verse 10.
Baruch Hu Adonai Havarach. Baruch Adonai Havarach Lilam Voed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam, Asher B'Chabanu Mikol Ha'amim V'Natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'yachaltem yashan nashan v'yasham mitei chadash tatziu v'natati mishkani b'tochachem v'lo tigal nafshi etchem v'hitalachti b'tochachem v'ayiti lachem l'Elohim v'atem tiyu li la'am ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'yot lehem avadim v'yeshpa matotochem v'yolech etchem kamiyut V'im lo tishmu li lo tasu et kol mitzvot ha'eleh v'im l'chukotai timasu v'im mishpatai kigam nafshechem v'vilti asod et kol mitzvotai v'afechem et biti אף אני אעשה זאת לכם, והפקדתי עליכם לחלת שכבת והפקדך מחלות עיניים לבדוק נשחש, וזרעתם להליצה לכם, ויאכלוך אויביכם, ונתתי מלאי לכם, ונזנחתם לפני אויביכם, ורדו לכם שניכם, ונסתם בילדיכם, ואם עד אלה לא תשמעו לי, ויוספתי ליוספתכם, 7 עבודותיכם, ושבעתי את עונוסכם, ונתתי שמכם כבזר, וידעתכם כנקושה. ותמלה לי כוחכם, ולא תיתן עשכם את יבולה, ויצעד עץ לא ייתן פריו. אם תלכו עמי כני, ולא תבואו לשמוע לי, ויוספתי עליכם מכה 7 חכותיכם, והשלכתי בכם את חיית השדה ושכבתכם, והביטה בהמתכם, והביטה עליכם, ונשמנו דרכיכם. ואם באלה לא תיבשו לי, ויעשיתם עמי קרי והלכתי אף אני עמכם בקרי כי לכם גם אני שבע ארצותיכם הבאתי עליכם חרב נוקמת לקמברי נשאתם אל עליכם שלא תדבר בתוככם וניתתם ביד אויב ושיבי לכם מטה לחם ואפו עשב נעשים לכם בתנועך ואשיב לכם במשקל יכולתם ולא תספרו ואם בזאת לא תשמעו לי ואספתם עמי בקרי והלכתי מכם בקרי ויסעתי אתכם אף אני שבע ארצותיכם ויכולתם בשר בניכם עושה בנותיכם תאכלו השמדתי את בנותיכם הכרעתי את המוניכם ונתתי את פגריכם על פגרי גלוליכם וגאלה נפשי אתכם ונתתי את עליכם חלום השימותי את מקדשיכם ולא אדיח בדרך נכוחכם השימותי אני את הארץ ושממו עליהם עליכם השים בא בידכם אצל בגויים הדיקותי אחריהם חורב והייתה אצלכם שממיו ידיכם יהיו חבה אז תרצה הארץ את פשטותיך כל ימי השמה יתם בארץ אביכם אז תספר הארץ וצאת שבתיך כל ימי השמה תספר את אשר הושבתה שבטכם בשבטכם עליך אשרים בכם בביתי מולך בבבם בארצות אביכם ולטף אותם כל הנידף ונעשו מסך חרב ונפלו בהן לרדף וגשלו השפעתיו כמדי חרב ורדפיים ולא תהיה לכם תקומה לבני אביכם ואתם בגויים בהלכותכם ארץ אביכם אשרים בכם ימקו באבנם בארצות אביכם באף ואבנות אבותם איתם ימקו ויפדו אבנם באבון אבותם בעולם השם אהובי באף אשר הלכו עמי בקרי אף אני אלך עמם בקרי והבאתי אותם בארץ אביהם אז יקנם בלבם הערב אז יצאו אל עוונם זכרתי את פליטי יעקב ואף את פליטי יצחק ואף את פליטי אברהם אזכור וירץ אזכור וארץ תרצה מהם ותרץ את שתותיך ושמע מהם והם יצאו אל עוונם ים וים שפתי מעשו יקוקותי גלה נפשם ואף גם זאת בהיותם בארץ אביהם ומזעתים ולא גללתם גללתם ואף יבליתי איתם כי אני אדוני אלוהיכם זכרתי להם ברית לשנים אשר הוצאתי אותם מארץ מצרים לעיני הגויים להיות להם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלה החוקים והמשפטים והתורות אשר נתן אדוני בינו ובין בני ישראל בהר-סיני ביד משה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נצח בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
Amen. Tamod. Rivka.
Avram David,
Bat Avram David.
Betabel Shem
Betabel Revi.
So why did Mark read that twice? Good question, Rabbi. You know the answer. Because the curses are so horrible in here that to hear them aloud might jinx it and make them happen more logically. So we read it quietly to make a statement of how strong our prayer is we not experience these curses, live our lives the right way, and not experience the horrors that are found in this Torah portion.
Read it, ready?
We're on 753 now, beginning of chapter 27.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Lilam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם איש יפלי נדר בהוכחת נפשו לאדוני והיה ככה זכה מבין 20 שנה ועד בין 60 שנה והיה ככה 50 shekel kesef v'shekel hakodesh v'nkevahi v'yakacha shloshim shekel v'miben chomesh shanim v'ad ben 20 shana v'hayakacha sacha 20 shekalim v'ankeva 10 shekalim v'miben chodesh v'ad ben 5 shanim v'hayakacha sacha 5 shekalim kasef v'lankeva 3 shekalim kasef ve'im miben 60 shana v'malim zacham v'hayakacha 15 shekel v'lankeva 10 shekalim v'machu mi'akacha v'amidu lifnei hakohen v'lichoto hakohen al pi asher tasig yanodeh yalichenu hakohen v'imahema sheyakrivu mimehena karban l'Adonai kol asher yitem mimehenu l'Adonai yihye kodesh yolach lifenu v'lo yamel tov tov b'rao ra b'tov v'imhamer yame v'hema v'hema v'yahu t'lumato yihye kodesh v'imkom v'hema t'meya asher lo yakrivu mimehena karban l'Adonai v'mira v'hema lifnei hakohen v'lich hakohen otah vein tov vein la kera kohen ken yihye v'im ga'ol yigalena v'yasafta mishito al ekacha v'ish ki yakdish et beito kodesh l'Adonai v'lich hakohen vein tov vein la kasher yalichoto hakohen ken yakum v'im hamakdish yigal et beito v'yasaf Chamishit kesef ekacha alav v'hayalav.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Looks like Stan. Yamod. Yisrael Leib, Ben Tzvi, Berachalea, Shishi, Chamishi.
The fifth Aliyah is on page 755, verse 16.
All right. What's the first word? V'im yistei akuzato?
Yeah, v'im.
Like that.
Baruch hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nasan lanu es toraso. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen. Amen. V'im yisei akuzato yakdishish l'Adonai v'hayakacha lefi zaro zerach mesarim v'chamishim shekel kasef im mishnah hayovel yakdish shadehu ke'akacha yakum v'imacha hayovel yakdish shadehu v'chishav lo kohen et hakesef al pi השנים הנותרות עד שנה יובל, ונגרע מיכחה, ואם גאו יגאל את השדה, המקדיש אותו, ויסף 50 כסף וככה עליו וקמלו, ואם לא יגאל ואם לא יגאל את השדה, ואם אחר השדה לאיש אחר, לא יגאל עוד. והיה שדה בצאצא ויובל קודש לאדוני כשדה יחידים לכהן תהיה אחוזתו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nosan lanu toras emes v'chayei olam nata b'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Tamod. Sarah Fegi. But perilous Moshe Shishi.
The sixth Aliyah is on page 755, verse 22.
Baruch hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai hamerech le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Ve'im etzrei miknato asher lo mistel kuzato yakdish l'Adonai v'chishav lo kohen et miksat echacha ad shna hayovel v'natan echacha bayom hahu kodesh l'Adonai Bishnat hayovel yashuv hasadel asher kano meito v'asher lo al kuzat ha'aretz v'chol echacha yebeshek la'kodesh esrim beila yehashokel Ach b'cho asher yivukah l'Adonai b'heima lo yakdish shoto im shoim sel Adonai hu v'im b'heima hatmeyau fadav yekacha v'yasafka meshito alav v'im lo yigael im chav yekacha achol cheidem asher yacharim ish l'Adonai mikol asher lo meyadam b'heima mister chuzato lo yimechav lo yigael Kol cheidem kodesh kadoshim hu l'Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Tamod. Penina Dvorah.
Moshe Yosef.
Bat Moshe Yaakov.
Yosef.
Yosef.
Esther Bracha.
Esther Bracha. Shvi'i.
Seventh Layaz on page 756, verse 29. It's traditional when we reach verse 34 to rise spiritually or physically for the final verse of the book of Leviticus, and then chant
Kol
Chazal
Chayrim.
after the verse is chanted.
Kol Chayrim.
Right there.
Unless you like this guy.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarah. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu b'kol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Kol cheidem asher yakanaham min hadam lo yipadeh mot shumad v'chol masa ha'aretz mizer ha'aretz mipri ha'etz l'Adonai hu kodesh l'Adonai v'im gol yigal ishmer asro chamishito yosef olav v'chol masa v'kavatzon kol asher yavot tachat hashavet hasiri yeh kodesh l'Adonai lo yivakeh ben tov l'rao v'lo yimirenu v'im chameh yimirenu v'yahu t'rumato yeh kodesh lo yigael
Please rise physically or spiritually.
Eila hamitzvot asher tziva Adonai et Moshe b'nei Yisrael behar Sinai. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek.
Please be seated.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Okay, now with Misha Berach, we'll do the blessing, which is found on 173 or 144 in the prayer books. Take names from the list, then names in the room, and then names for those who may be on Zoom. Misha Berach Avitat Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachav Alehu Rivka Kol HaCholim, Gabriel Shmuel ben Chaya Slova, Bible ben Chasel, Leah Yehuda bat Basha Reizel, Sarah bat Freda Rivka, Marion Feldman, Gershon ben Leva, Shoshana bat Netterly, Reuben ben Sarah, Leah bat Sarah, Menachem Ari ben Fruma, Esther bat Bega Rivka, Risa Chana bat Rivka Chana, Freda Rivka bat Table, Shenda, Simba bat Rivka Leah, Shmuel ben Karet, Zina bat Chana Leah, Sima Sivia bat Zelda, Ruth bat Sarah, Nes Gildor ben Shoshana, Shlomo ben Golda, Tzvia Sarah bat Sima Leah, Simcha Natan ben Risa Chana, Avia Sarah bat Cyril Lisa, Rachel Penina bat Ariella, Tzipora Shevya bat Razel, Batya bat Esther, Gabriel ben Batya, Yehuda ben Leah, Fruma Dreda bat Zisha, Malka Chava bat Zissa, Sarah, Batya bat Rivka, Ed Kluansky, James Rosenfield, Gloria Hyacinth, Yosef Shlomo ben Batya, Deborah Shel bat Chaya Rachel, Yaakov Hirsch ben Tzipora, bat Yitzirel bat Batsheva, Razel bat Esther, Zev ben Chaya, Bela Chana bat Fega, Kalman ben Esther Chava, Gedalia ben Chaya, Chuna ben Sarah, Chaya bat Leah, Ann Loeb, Helen Solomon, Shol ben Zissel, Groinim ben Moshe, Penina bat Rachel, Meryl Hinda bat Razel, Chana Kayla bat Sarah, Charna bat Luma, Nora bat Esther, Kayla bat Malka, Sarah Batya bat Zelda.
Sarah Miriam bat Raphael, Miriam Sarah bat Brina, Sarah Gittel bat John Leah.
Gene Brandenburg, Marshall Shafo, Erwin Pastor, Stan Gartenberg, Gordon Berg, Marilyn Berg, Tom Rosenbaum.
Anybody on Zoom need to add a name or put it into the chat? Okay, Val? I don't know if we can. Are you unmuted? Val?
You're unmuted.
She is unmuted.
You're unmuted. She can't hear you.
Okay, so unmute me. Val, I can't hear you. Say it again. Anybody else? Where's the mouse go? HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lachazikam Lefuotam Ishlach Lehem V'Shamayim Forth and Evshadu P'tok Shesirel Shabbat Himilizo Kurachu Al Shagari Ben Omar Amen. Though unmercifully restore them to health and vigor, grant them physical and spiritual well-being, and may this come to pass soon. And again we say,
Amen.
Amen. Do Debbie Freeman Mishaberach now. If you need the words, top of 173 in the red. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor Habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. go to the Maftir Torah reading at this time. Oh, have Kaddish first.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlech malchutei v'chayechonu v'mechonu chaydechol Beit Yisrael ba'agal avizman kariv imru Amen Shmei Rabbi v'rach le'olam me'omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei kudisha v'richu le'lamin kol birchata v'shirata tushvachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen Ya'amo.
Please be seated.
Meir Shlomo
Ben Yisrael.
Ben Yisrael
Chaya Bela.
V'chaya Bela Maftir.
The Maftir is on page 756, verse 32. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach. Baruch Adonai HaMavorach L'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. V'chol ma'asav ha'kavatzon kol asher yavot ha'cher ha'shavet ha'asiri yeh kodesh l'Adonai lo yivakeh ben tov v'lav lo yaminenu v'im hameh yaminenu v'yahu trumato yeh kodesh lo gilgal elah hamitzvot asher tziva Adonai et Moshe b'nei Yisrael behar Sinai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yamod. Gershon Heschel. Ben Nachum Halevi Hagbaviet. Sarah Bat Korach Golelet Baruch Golelet.
Stay close, Chuck. I'm not very good at this.
Zot Torah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai V'yad Moshe Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarivka Rachel v'Leah Yivarech Et Kol Eila Asher Alu Hayom Lichvod HaMakom Lichvod HaTorah V'Lichvod HaShabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishmor Otam V'yesh Mishpechotam Yishlach Bracha V'Hatzlacha B'chol Ma'aseh Yedeihem Kim Kol Yisrael Acheihem and Omar Amen.
Breastplate first.
You're on.
Please be seated. You'll find the Haftarah, the prophetic portion for this morning, on page 759. We go to the prophet Jeremiah for a message that parallels in many ways the theme of the curses. The sin of Israel is, oops, sorry, wrong page number. Oh, it's 763, sorry. I've got the two Haftarahs back to back. 763. The guilt of Judah is inscribed with a stylus of iron. The sin is so embedded in the people that nothing can take it out. The destruction is soon to come. In Jeremiah's own lifetime, he fled to Egypt when the first temple was destroyed. And he says in the middle, cursed is the person that believes in a man or a human being who makes flesh his strength, but blessed is one who trusts in the Lord, whose trust the Lord alone. And the most famous verse is the last verse of the Haftarah. Rifa'eni Adonai ve'erafei hoshenu v'ivasheh kitlati ata. For those who daven every day, 3 times a day in the Amidah, we say this in the first person plural, not in the singular. Heal me, O Lord, and let me be healed. Save me and let me be saved. It's a wonderful, powerful theme. In the face of all the tsuris of life, all the bad things that can happen, all the curses that are out there, God is present as a source of spiritual strength. You may not get cured. That's the real world. What is possible? To feel God's love, to know you're not alone, be surrounded by people who are God's hands in the world, who love us in the face of the challenges that we face. Heal me and I shall be healed. That's the message that Jeremiah said 2,500 years ago. Still true today. We're not alone on the journey. Love is out there. Spirit is out there. Kindness and caring can be found out there. That's what keeps us going in the hard times. Haftarah again, page 763.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hanemorim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah Moshe avdo Yisrael amo uvinviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Adonai uzi uma'uzi umnusi b'yom tzara elecha. Goyim yavo'u me'afsei aretz v'yomru ach sheker. Nachalu avotenu hevel v'in b'mo'il. Hayaseh lo adam Elohim behema lo Elohim. Lachein modiam b'pa'am hazot odiem et yadi v'et gvurati v'yadu ki shmi Adonai. Chatat Yehuda Ketuva B'et Barzel B'tziporen Shamir Charusha Aluach Libam Ulekarnod Mizrachotechem Kizkor B'neihem Mizrachotam Ba'asherehem Aletz Ra'anan Al Gavaot HaGavahot Harari Basadeh Elcha Kol Otzrotecha Levazetein B'motecha B'chatat B'chol Gevulecha B'shamatata Uvecha Minachvatecha Asher natati lach v'havareticha et oivecha ba'aretz asher lo yadata ki esh kedachtem ba'pi ad olam tukad. Ko amar Adonai arur hagever asher yiftach b'adam B'sam basar zra'o u'min Adonai yasur libo v'haya karor b'arava v'lo yireh ki avotov v'shachan charirim b'midbar eretz mlecha v'lo teishev. Baruch HaGever Asher Yivtach B'Adonai V'Haya Adonai Mivtacho V'Haya Ke'etz Shatul Al Mayim V'Al Yuval Yishlach Shirashav V'Lo Yireh Ki Yavo Chom V'Haya Alehu Ra'anan U'Vishnat Batzoret Lo Lo yidag, lo yamish me'asotari. Akov halev, mikol ganushu mi yeda'enu ani Adonai. Choker lev bochen kiliyod v'lateit leish kidrochav. Kipri ma'alalav korei dagar v'lo yalad ose osher v'lo b'mishpat v'chatzi yamav yazvenu uba'acharito yihye naval Kisei chavod maram erishon makom mikdashenu Mikvei Yisrael Adonai Kol Ozvecha Yevoshu V'surai Ba'aretz Yikatevu Ki Azvu L'kor Mayim Chayim Et Adonai Rifa'eni Adonai V'ei Rafei Hoshi'eni V'vashe'a Ki Tehilati Atah Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik v'chol hadorot va'el haneman ha'omer v'yoseh hamadaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek neman atah hu Adonai Eloheinu v'nemanim devarecha v'davarecha ad midbarecha chor lo yashuv rekam Ki el melech neman v'rachaman ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el haneman b'chol devarav Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu v'lalu v'nefesh toshia b'mheira b'yameinu baruch ata Adonai v'sameach Tzion b'vaneha Sampeinu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha uv'malchut Beit David Meshichecha b'mheira yavo v'yagel libeinu al kiso lo yeshev zar v'lo yinchalu od acherim et kavodo ki b'shem kodshecha nishbata lo shelo yichven eiro li'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai Magen David Amen Al Torah, v'al Avodah, v'al Nevi'im, v'al Yom HaShabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'kedusha v'limnucha, l'chavod u'ltifaret, al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, u'mborachim otach, Yidbarach Shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid li'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat
You are Marv, yes? Yes. Thanks to Marv for doing the Haftarah for us this morning. Just want to be sure I got the right person. And thanks to our Torah reader this morning. I know Mark was the second. Who was the first? Torah reader? Thank you. It's not easy to read Torah. It's good to have a good Torah reader. If my order is correct, we now do prayer for the community, prayer for the country, prayer for Israel. Is that correct? And then we'll bench Rosh Chodesh. In the prayer books, we're on 176 if you're in the red, 148 if you're in the blue. Prayer for those who serve the community. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless this entire congregation together with all other holy congregations, they, their families, and all that is theirs, along with those who devote themselves to establish synagogues for prayer, as well as the wine for Kiddush and Havdalah, food for guests, bread for hungry, tzedakah for the poor, and shelter for the homeless, and all who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of this community and the land of Israel. May the Holy One reward them, remove sickness from them, heal them, and forgive their sins. May God bless them by making all their worthy endeavors prosper, as well as those of the entire people Israel, their brothers and sisters, and let us say, turn the page, 177, a prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessings upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials, who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. Adonai, God, whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit will be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will, the land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth. May you cause all people to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore, for all of them, from the least of them to the greatest. And let us say, turning over again the page for prayer for Israel, starting in the Hebrew. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Yisrael, Reshit Smichat K'ulatenu, Hagein Aleha Be'evrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shalomecha, Ushlach Orchav Amitka, Rasheha, Yoatzeha, V'takneim Be'etzah Tova Milpanecha, Hazek Yidei Miginei Eretz Kodshenu, V'anchileim Eloheinu Yeshua, V'ateret Nitzachon T'atreim, V'natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'simchat Olam Liyoshveha V'nomar. Ready to flip ahead a couple of pages to bench Rosh Chodesh. The new month is about to begin Monday night and Tuesday, the month of Sivan, which means next weekend it's going to be Sukkot, Shavuos. Oh boy. So we'll turn to page 180 in the red to 150 in the blue. You may rise physically or spiritually for counting and announcing the new month.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu, Shetechadesh Aleinu et hachodesh haba, Letova v'liveracha, V'titein lanu chayim arukim, chayim shel shalom, chayim shel tova, chayim shel beracha, chayim shel parnasa, chayim shel chilutz atzamot, chayim sheyesh bahem yirat shamayim veyirat chet, chayim she'en bohem busha uchlima, chayim, chayim shelo sher v'chavod, chayim, chayim שתהבנו, שתהבנו, אהבת תורה, תורה, שתהבנו, שתהבנו, אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים, שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה. אמן. סלע. מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו וגאל אותם מעבדות לחירות, הוא יגאל אותנו בקרוב ויקבץ נידחינו מארבע כנפות הארץ. חברים כל ישראל ונאמר Amen.
The month of Sivan will begin on Tuesday. May it hold blessing for us and for all the people Israel.
ראש חודש סיוון יהיה ביום השלישי, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה.
ראש חודש סיוון יהיה ביום שלישי, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה.
יחדשהו הקדוש ברוך הוא עלינו ועל כל עמו בית ישראל לחיים ולשלום, לששון ולשמחה, לישועה ולנחמה, ונאמר אמן.
If you like, you may be seated as we continue with Ashrei. Middle of 151 in the blue, 181 in the red.
אשרי יושבי ביתך עוד יהללוך סלה.
אשרי עם שככה לו, אשרי עם שאדוני אלוהיו.
תהילה לדוד, ארוממך אלוהי המלך, ואברך שמך לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך, והללה שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר.
כל עדי שבח מעשיך, גבורותיך יגידו.
הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך.
עזוז נאורותיך יאמרו, גדולתך ספרנה.
זכר רב טובך יביעו, וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדול חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורתו, וכבוד הדר מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קרוב, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah.
Return the Torah to the ark in the red, 183 in the blue, 153.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל.
$184 or $154? Please be seated. A couple of short, not so random thoughts for this morning. Blesses and curses tochecha. We start our portion off with 10 verses of blessing, and then verses 14 through 38 are pure curse, so you can go all the way to 43 with a mixed kind of blessing and curse. Why are there 3 times more curses than blessings? I have 3 answers, which tells you what? I don't know the answer to the question. The best answer is, more than anything else, This appears to be just standard Middle Eastern covenant ceremony of the ancient Middle East. Between overlords and their vassals, the overlord always specifies his horrible, horrible list of curses if the vassal doesn't observe the treaty, and that's what we have here in no uncertain terms. Not totally satisfied, though, with that answer. Yeah, I understand it. If you don't keep the deal, boy, are you going to get it. That's the way the world works. Second answer to me is, I think it may have also been my grandparents' religion, what little they actually observed. Why observe the mitzvot, if I had asked them? And they would answer me, I think, because God said to do so. Do it or get zapped. Be good or else face the consequences. I've always preferred a community that says, do it for the right reasons, that it makes you, your family, your community, the world a little better, a little more loving, a little more ethical. Why am I here on this earth in the first place? And my answer would be to be the best version of myself and to do tikkun olam, to be part of the process of healing the world. But third answer I know is true. Why doesn't this rabbi always speed in his car all the time? And the answer is because I'd get a big ticket. That would be a curse. Stay away from the curses. If you know who I am, I'm Rabbi Mark Raphael. I'm the Rabbi Emeritus of Kehilat Shalom Montgomery Village. Over the years, we did many programs here together. I had a first congregation in Hartford, Connecticut, 40 years ago. And then a congregation in Binghamton, New York. 16 years I was a rabbi in Montgomery Village. And then 10 years ago, I retired to chaplaincy. I was a chaplain at the DCVA, for a while at the Washington Hospital Center. And I actually finished up during COVID, I finished my term as the Jewish chaplain at Suburban Hospital. And I came out of retirement during COVID because Shaare Tefila, where I became a member in 2012, the rabbi left when COVID hit. I had to serve as a rabbi again. And it's nice to be a rabbi once in a while, but not do it all the time. But I've been thinking a lot about the curses in this time of pandemic, time of rampant violence and massacre. First, I have a short idea, partial, from the GTS Torah commentary this week. We feel when we read the chaos of the Tochacha every time we read it, but more powerfully in recent years than perhaps ever I felt before in my 69 years. So many people I know right now have mild COVID or asymptomatic COVID, especially during the last week. Compound that with what happened a little more than a week ago in Buffalo, and this past week in Texas, bigoted massacres, and insane school genocide, and it's enraging because nothing ever seems to change. We're not doing enough. I look at those pictures of those beautiful kids, and I just want to cry, but I don't know exactly what to do. Chaos and absence of control over our lives, human evil and nature itself feel overwhelming, and we're not sure what to do. Getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, having police in schools and perhaps our synagogues just is not enough. I wonder then about also my Israelite ancestors leaping into freedom after generations of slavery, abuse, and death, generations of trauma, then to see the months of destruction and deaths of the Egyptians leading to their own freedom. Their blessing was the other person's curse. Blessing, therefore, calls on the recipient to be aware, to acknowledge with gratitude, and know that others are not always so fortunate. Curses, strangely too, can have a silver lining. Challenges, obstacles, impediments can create new awareness, lead to greater compassion and wisdom outside of previous experience. I think a lot about the way different people react to the present circumstance. Some people are just scared and angry all the time. They vent that frustration and rage over a life not in their control into the way they treat people around them. Their fears, which are legit, lead to irrational blame games, result in rage and inability to behave civilly. I find it terrifying, especially when I feel some of those things inside myself. And some lucky people have been able to find blessings in the hardship. Time to take stock of what we do have, to appreciate the simple pleasures with friends and our family, to hear the birds singing in the morning, or a beautiful sunset, to remember what really, truly matters. It's easy for anyone to be mired in the debris of our journey, but sometimes maybe we can be intentional, face forward, look forward to what might come next. The Chukotai implies that there are reasons for national calamity, rooted in complacency during times of prosperity and ignoring inequality and injustice. We've been experiencing has brought into the light wrongs that need serious mending and healing. We have a lot more work to do. There is a sense, though, in the power of human agency to behave differently and more responsibly. That's what the curses teach us. If someone didn't find any meaning in that, I'll try one more short thought from a local rabbi, Esther Letterman. Early in this week's portion, we encountered the following verse, Vayisham mibnei chadash totziu. You'll have clear out the old to make room for the new. What is it referring to? Simple meaning, it's the grain that you have stored. Things will be so good in the prosperous times that you won't even have enough storage space. Anyone ever have that problem? Certainly when you move from one house to another, you feel it powerfully. Maybe you did a little bit when you did your spring Pesach cleaning a few weeks ago. We're putting away the winter things. Sometimes we need to clear out the old to make room for the new. Certainly true in making sermons, hopefully each one a little shorter and better than the one before. But our personal journeys, we know that in order to embrace new possibilities or new futures, we need to move out of some of the old. I want to be a better spouse, child, parent. I need space for new behaviors. If I want to forgive someone, I need to clean up my previous experience with them. It's true of our institutions too. We want our synagogue to be more vibrant, more accessible, more filled with sacred moments. What are we going to stop doing? When are we going to start doing? In a world in which we're working toward greater racial equality, diversity, and inclusion, what old habits, mindsets, attitudes, and behaviors need cleaning out so we can adopt new ways of being and behaving. As a child of the 50s and the 60s, I embraced the nostalgia of my youth, the memories of those in so many ways simpler days. Well, know though that those sentimental longings impede the ability for anyone to move forward and upward. So as we read today and read in the future the blessings and the curses, I remind you to think with me, what am I open to? What new things can I sense or see? What new possibilities exist for me? Blessings and curses are both opportunities to reflect and to grow. Next time you felt saying, but I've always done it this way, ask yourself, is it still working for me? It might just be time to make some space for the new grain. Anything else that might come in. Enjoy both the blessings and the curses and learn from both. Question on the Torah reading, the Haftarah. Anything else this morning? The Bar Torah even. Everything was crystal clear. Your incoming president would hardly have questions for me. I've known Eric Marshall for about 20 years. I named his two youngest girls, so I've known him for a long time. So you're getting a good president. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I hope he'll have a very successful time as the president of this synagogue. We shall go then to the Musaf service. We'll go to the Hafkadosh of the additional service in the red prayer book, page 184, in the blue prayer book, page 155. You're welcome to rise, spiritually or physically.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמך לבא.
אמן.
ואלמא דברה קירותך, וימליך מלכותך בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דך ובית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמך תקודשה, ברכו לעילם עם כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
We're going to begin the chanting of the Musaf Amidah together, 185 or 156.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasidei Avot, Umevi Goel Livnei Vneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים
187 or 157 for Kedusha.
נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד שיח שר וקודש המקדישים שמך בקודש ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך כל הארץ כבודו כבודו מלא עולם משרתיו שואלים זה לזה איה מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ממקומו הוא ייתן ברחמים ויחון המייחדים שמו ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד פעמיים ביעבה שמע אומרים שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד hu Eloheinu Avinu, hu Malkeinu Moshienu, ve'hu yashmienu berachamav shenit li'nei kol chai, liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, u'v'divrei kodshecha katuv lemor, Imloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion ledor vador. Hallelujah. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please continue selling now with your personal prayer or the words of the Amidah in the red 188 through 192 or 158 through 161. Continue with Sim Shalom, middle of 191 in the red, top of 161 in the blue.
Sim, sim, sim shalom, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Chen lachesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barcheinu avinu kulanu ke'echad be'or panecha. Sim, sim, sim shalom, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Ki ve'or panecha natat lanu Adonai Elohim. Eloheinu, Torat Chaim ve'avat chesed, u'tzedaka uvracha ve'rachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom. Sim, sim, sim shalom, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. B'tov einecha levarech et amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים, שים, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים, שים, שים שלום טובה וברכה. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Amen. Flipping ahead for full Kaddish to page 203 in the red or 181 in the blue.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה.
אמן.
בעלמא דברה קירותך וימליך מלכותך וחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו אמן. יהי שמך רבה מברך לעלם ולעלם ימיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך בקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא וימרו אמן. תתקבל אצלותן ובאותן דכל ישראל קודם אבוהן דיבי שמיה וימרו אמן. יש למה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו אמן.
Excellent.
All right. And I am going to be joined here right now by Jonah Lansky, who is going to be bar mitzvah in just a few months, who is going to be doing a little practice.
You'll find Elaine in Kelohenu on 204 or 182.
In Kelohenu, in Kadonenu, in Kemalkenu, in Kemoshienu, Michelohenu,
Michadonenu, Michemalkenu, Michemoshienu, Nodelohenu, Nodeladonenu, Nodelemalkenu, Nodelamoshienu, La 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Baruch
Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu,
Atahu Shektiru Avotenu Lefanecha Ketorat Hasamim Yada la 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 ya la la ya la 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 la.
Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Kadima.
Adonai, Adonai Oz Lamo Yiten, Adonai Yivarech et Amo v'Shalom.
Ready for Aleinu 205 or 183.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, l'atid gedulah l'yotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu b'ha'adam, v'gol aleinu k'kol ha'monah, v'anachnu korim, v'ifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'gavhei meromim. Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu B'Torato, V'yadata Hayom V'hashevota Elevavecha. Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim, Bashamayim mima'al v'yal ha'aretz mitachat Kakatu b'Toratacha Adonai yimloch l'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar Yahaya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo
Mourners are welcome to remain standing. Everyone else, if they desire, may be seated. The moment will be on 207 or 184 for Mourners Kaddish. There's no Shloshim observance remaining, and we're not doing Amalei Rachamim since we benched Rosh Chodesh today. I understand it's the custom, but the following yard sites are being observed today. Sarah Hinder Pearl Yolis, Herman Finkel, Judge Marvin Roth, Albert Langerman, Solomon Siegel, Abraham Rice, Morris Nathan Oshry, Cecil Isaacs, Zelda Weisberg, Mr. Harvey King, Joseph Schumann, Joan Eskin, David Kale, Samuel Tossman, Clara Garnicki, Mr. William Harkway, Jesse Flax, Manny Grossberg, Fanny Rubin, Sarah Hartendop Baum, Samuel Schreier, Mildred Gromvine, Ann Buckberg, Sylvia Kaplowitz, Jonathan Salter, Jeanette Harrison, Helen Greenfield, Estelle Ruth Summer, Rebecca Blacker, and Beatrice I. Sandler. May the faith that binds to our loved ones and those being a continuing source of comfort by those in mourning observing yahrzeit join in Kadisha To Mourners Kaddish 184 in the blue, 207 in the red. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'Alma Divrach Yirutei v'Yamlich Malchutei v'Chayechon v'Yomechon v'Chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael v'Agalau v'Zman Kariv v'Yemru Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Olamei Almaya Yitbarach v'Yishtabach v'Yitpa'ar v'Yitromam v'Yitnaseh v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei kudesha b'reichu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru, amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru.
Amen.
Who's got the announcements? Who's got announcements? We do that after Adon Olam. What's the custom here for announcements? Before or after Adon Olam? Before or after Adon Olam? After. I didn't know the custom. Okay, so
After.
lots of different ways of doing it.
After.
I don't remember. Okay. 187 in the blue for Adon Olam, 211 in the red for Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא. הוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו הפקיד רוחי ועת אישן בעירה, ועם רוחי יביאתי אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Rita, I think you want to share with something else a little about our birthday celebration today.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We'd be remiss not to recognize a longtime member and a longtime friend, Barbara Fink. I've known Barbara for over 50 years. We were very young then. She's been involved in many, many things. She's not only been I knew her mother. She was a wonderful daughter, a wonderful sister, mother, grandmother, and friend. And a tribute to the friendship, we have Charlotte, who has recently recovered. She's still recovering. And she came just to honor her, because they've been very good friends for a long time. And Charlotte, we're so happy to see you, and we hope to see you again every Shabbat. And we thank Stanley for bringing her. He's another Gutta Neshama, and Barbara is a Gutta Neshama. She's always there for everybody. She's always ready. She's very modest and very humble, but she's always there to drive people, to visit people, never toots her horn. And what you may not know, she was in charge of script. Well, she made it known every Shabbat for many years, for 22 years. And Sisterhood was able to present the congregation with $10,000 each year, just raising money through script. She stepped in again. She had retired. I mean, it was due. She was due to retirement because she worked so hard for so many years. and served on the board with me when I was president. But when Judy Beiser, Zichrona Livracha, had died, she had taken over it. Barbara was there, right there, and she's still selling script, but she's looking for somebody to keep the books. So she's done it, she deserves a little rest. So she's done a lot for the shul, which people don't know. She's also a perpetual student, which we have things in common. She is always taking classes. She's been in the rabbi's class, the Torah class, since he started. She's in his Talmud class. She never misses a class. She's in his current events class. I see her every Wednesday, and I think that's what keeps us young and going. And she's been a wonderful member and a wonderful asset, and I think we should sing her and Yasher Koach to you, bis 120 until 120. May you continue being healthy and happy and see a lot of nachas from your grandson, and maybe see you around, maybe be around for a while, God willing. So I won't tell your age. It's, what is it?
Mishabera for her birthday.
Mishabera?
Mishabera for her, and then we'll do Yom HaLotzeh and then Simon Tov Mazel Tov.
You want to do the Mishabera?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, sure.
Special Mishabera for her birthday. Mishabera Chasav Yaakov, Yomotenu Sarach Arlaya, Ubarecha Barbara Fink, Sha'alta, L'chayom, Lichbod HaMakom, Lichbod Ravachod HaShabbat, HaKadot Shem Kodshol, Kol HaChesed Asher Gamala, Miyom Hivalda Ad Yom Hazeh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishmor Ota, Mikol Nego Machala, Yosif La, Shnot Chaim Leim Briot, Bava Shalom V'Shalva, Yishlach Bracha B'chol Maaseh Yadeha, Kosher Alecheha V'Nomar. Amen. One who blessed our ancestors Abraham and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah. Bless Barbara Fink, who has ascended today to honor God, the Torah, the Shabbat. Thank God for all the blessings God has bestowed on her from the day of her birth until now. May God protect her from all disease and illness, and bless her with long life filled with good health and love and family. May God send blessing and success in all her worthy endeavors. And again, let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, and Simin Tov, Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, and Simin Tov. Yehelanu, 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 Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, and many more.
Poo-poo was 120, Barbara, and she's always been involved in Torah Fund, which I felt is from its inception. Very strong supporter, and we love you, and happy birthday.
What else before Kiddush? Kiddush, okay.
let me take care of this, because I'll need it tomorrow morning.
Okay. You can shut it down.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
And you too. Stay healthy.